Hey everyone. I've been going through, I started this Bible study parenting group, and we're going through the book Parenting 14 Gospel Principles That Can Radically Change Your Family by Paul Tripp. And this is the second week, so second chapter. And this chapter was on grace. And I never really thought about how grace matches with humility, because like the chapter was talking about, it talked about able parents who see themselves as capable, able, smart. He called himself like a law keeper, and he didn't realize the damage that that would have on his children when it wasn't paired and matched with grace, accountability, and humility. I've experienced both sides of this coin. My parents growing up were very humble. My father and my mother, they were very gracious and kind, understanding, quick to forgive, quick to show compassion, quick to show mercy rather than justice and law and order and punishment. Yes, there was still discipline, but there was also so much grace. And then when I got older, I got lost from the faith for a while, and I ended up in the kink community. And I had this brokenness inside of me, and I sought out people whose kink was parenting, daddy doms, they called them. And I liked to be a little girl. I wanted to be taken care of because I felt so broken, lost, and confused, and I didn't even know what I needed. And here were these people in this community that was open, and they communicated boundaries, and they practiced respecting boundaries. And sorry, my phone was ringing. And for the first time in my life, I was feeling heard. I was feeling respected. I was learning how to say no, how to try things, and then be able to not try them again if I didn't like them. And just recently, in the last couple of years, it was about a year before I came back to the faith, I got paired with this daddy dom, and he told me he had always prayed that God would give him a little girl to take care of. And he saw me as kind of that answer to prayer. And I had been looking for someone to listen and take care of me because I felt like I needed help. I needed it. My brain just felt so broken and stuck. And as he was there and as he helped me, he taught me so many things about himself, about parenting, and about myself, and about my parents. And cats are going crazy. And one of the things I learned by listening to his stories is that he considered himself an able parent, which was kind of ironic, funny, because the stories he told were horrific. The things that he did to his children were traumatizing. And then he would complain that they don't respect him, and that they don't want a relationship with him, and that none of them get along, and that he hasn't even heard from them. And when I would make a comment like, well, when you did that, like, that probably did this to them. And he's like, you don't know. And he would turn aggressive. He would turn angry. And I'm like, I might not know everything that you did as a parent, but from the stories you've told me, that's enough to traumatize me and give me fear of you, because I can see that you're not a gracious, humble, accountable, kind person. He presented that way because he wanted that in return. But just like the chapter in the book, those around him lost respect for him because his words did not match his actions. And eventually, I became a Christian. I started setting different boundaries and changing our relationship to be more biblical. And eventually, he turned on me and attacked me, told lies about me, spread rumors about me, about things I didn't do. And it made it easier to step back from the relationship. But looking at that, I realized why God didn't answer his prayers and give him a little girl of his own. Because the ways he would have hurt her would have been so detrimental. If I had been an actual little girl instead of an adult girl with the mind of a little girl, I don't even want to imagine the horrors that I would have endured at the hands of this good-intentioned human. But because he didn't have the skills or accountability or humility to be gracious, he did what he thought was best. But we know that human wisdom is not godly wisdom. It might seem logical and just and law-abiding, like the Paul who wrote the book was talking about, but it's not going to be gracious. It's not going to be kind. It's not going to be accountable. It's not going to be humble. It's going to be worldly rather than biblical. And in my own parenting, I've had such fear that I would have regrets. And the chapter talked about that too, how regret is a good thing because it helps us grow and learn and change, because we have humility to accept the fact that we made a mistake. But it also said that when you live in regret, it causes you to be timid and it steals your courage. And that's what happened to me. I was so afraid of making mistakes and of living with regret and bitterness that I became so timid that I wasn't even willing to speak up. And as the Lord started filling me more and more with his spirit of courage and confidence of speaking the truth and acting in humility and being willing to make a mistake, because I could serve as a learning experience, a learning lesson for myself and children around me and adults. But unless I was willing to be that, I was going to be living in timid fear. And I heard this thing once that when you fear something, you're already getting, now I can't remember how they phrased it, but like the only thing to fear is fear itself. When you're afraid of making mistakes, you're then making the mistake because of your fear. The mistake is believing the fear. The mistake isn't trying your best and things not working out how you expected. That's not the mistake. The mistake is not being able to learn and grow from your experiences and not having the humility to be held accountable for your actions and your words and your deeds. And I'm trying so hard And I feel convicted all the time. And I'm trying to learn how to pair humility with confidence. And it's very difficult for me because I've spent so long living in fear. But God is greater than that. And He's giving me the ability to step out in confidence. And they might be baby steps. They might just be little tiny things, one day at a time, making this little change here and that little change there. But as I'm willing to do this work and to be willing to not be perfect, but to allow His grace to cover my imperfections, we're able to live and love and grow together as a family, as a household, and now as I step out, as a community. And so I'm so eternally grateful for my Heavenly Father and for my earthly parents and for the other people He has put in my life to help me learn the difference between good and bad. So I love you guys, and I hope you're able to have grace with yourself, have grace with others, and have humility and accountability to follow the Lord's law. And His law is kindness and forgiveness and mercy and gentleness. And there is correction, there is discipline, but it's not the worldly kind. So I encourage you to get in the Word, to read and study, and to work on your relationship with Him. Because like the chapter said, the more you can see how much grace He's given you, the easier it is to share that grace, not only with your children, but also with adults, with yourself, with those around you, and with everyone. So keep up the good work. Keep trying. Keep striving. I love you guys. Have a great day.